Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to our Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday show of the week. Can't wait to get started. Today, we are going to be talking about the 7 signs of a slow metabolism and what you can do about it. So looking forward to going over these because the truth is this, is that our bodies are somewhat unique, meaning that we manifest a slow metabolism or maybe an autoimmune issue or a weak immune system or a hyper-exaggerated immune system or inflammation in different ways, right? Some people have pain in their bodies, some people have migraines, some people have skin rashes. So what we want to begin to look at is that a slow metabolism can manifest in the same way. And so what we want to look for are those signs that will let you know it is happening so that you can begin to rebalance your body. Because the nice thing is this, is that no matter what you've been told, maybe from your PCP or conventional medicine doctor, is that most everything, and I mean like literally everything, is reversible. So when you are starting to be given this diagnosis and prognosis of, this terminal-based health issue you're going to live with for the rest of your life, like rheumatoid arthritis or migraines or hormone imbalances or you name it, just understand that someone with this same exact condition before was able to heal, and that means you can too. All right, so what we want to do is let's get into then some of those signs to look for so that you make sure that if these things are happening right now, we can begin to reverse them. All right, so 7 signs of a slow metabolism. The first one is this: cold hands and feet. So a lot of people think that they have cold hands and feet. It's only because, well, it's winter time or this or that. But let's just say it is winter like in New England, right? It is cold. There's no doubt about it. But inside of your house is probably heated. And if it's not, or let's say it is only to a degree, you probably put a sweater on or a sweatshirt on. And even if it isn't, a sign of a good metabolism, so basically the reverse, is that your body will then ramp up thermogenesis. But it won't do that, right? If your metabolism is weaker, you're going to end up not having as great a circulation. You might say, well, it's a thyroid issue. Yes, but your thyroid leads to a slow metabolism, right? So we can end up fixing that thyroid and fixing your metabolism. We'll get to that in a moment. So you just want to make sure that you do not have cold hands and cold feet. And some people get a cold tip of the nose. All right. The second one is this: if your energy fluctuates throughout the day, most likely that is a sign of a weakening metabolism or weak metabolism, meaning that there's an imbalance in blood sugar levels, or there's an imbalance in hormones such as the adrenal hormones, or maybe in the thyroid hormones as well. Either way, imbalanced adrenals or an imbalanced thyroid, and not having the highs and lows in energy, just steady energy is what you want, is a sign of a weakened metabolism. All right, the third one is this: weak digestion. Believe it or not, if you are not able to metabolize food very well, break it down, absorb it, and not feel bloated and like things are moving slowly through the bowels, that is also a sign of a slow metabolism. Again, we'll get into reasons in just a moment, but these are all signs that I do want you to know about. All right, the fourth sign of a slow metabolism is, along with kind of the digestive part of it, is that if you are not having 1, 2, or even 3 bowel movements per day, that is a sign of a sluggish metabolism, because the bowels and your entire digestive tract are also predicated on your digestion, or your metabolism, I should say. So if you are someone with a weakened metabolism, low energy in general, you're most likely going to have weak peristalsis. The movement of the stool and food through your intestines is going to be slowed down. If you don't have constipation, you just might feel more bloated or distended or just not hungry, right? We'll get to that one in a moment. So 1, 2, or 3 bowel movements per day, with most people having 1 to 2 with a healthy metabolism. Sign number 5 of a slow metabolism is not being able to maintain your weight easily. So for example, you eat a little bit more one day, you eat a little bit less one day, you eat typical a few days in a row, your weight pretty much maintains within the same, let's say 1 to 3 pounds. If your weight goes up and down quite rapidly, especially with weight gain, it is a sign of a slow metabolism. So for example, if you can gain 5 pounds or more in a week, there definitely can be an issue with the metabolism. Again, it can go back to stress hormones like cortisol, lower levels of functional thyroid hormone. It could be digestive-based inflammation or inflammation of some other type. But certainly inflammation affects the metabolism, so it's worth looking at. So if you find yourself typically yo-yoing, as they say, up and down in weight, I would absolutely mark that as a sign of a slow metabolism. All right, number 6 is this. If you don't wake up and within an hour or 2 hours of waking, you still don't have an appetite, believe it or not, that's a sign of a slower metabolism. Now, a lot of people think, well, I'm not hungry in the morning anymore because I've skipped breakfast for so long. Now, I've talked about this before. I've talked about this on interviews on many, many other podcasts and shows as well, quite at length. But I'm just going to give you the shortened version right now. There's a lot of people on keto-based diets or other diets that have dramatically slowed their metabolism. So to the point where they're almost bragging that they only need to eat 1,000 or 1,200 calories a day, and they used to eat 2,000 or 2,500 calories a day. You have to understand, they're literally proving the point. And by the way, I have no dog in the race when it comes to what diet is the best diet. That I don't care about that whatsoever. You have to understand though, if you used to be able to eat 2,500 calories a day, and now you can eat 1,250, 50% of that, your metabolism has dipped by about 50% in terms of caloric burning. Like literally, that's what happened. You have a slower metabolism. It's 50% slower in terms of your essentially basal metabolic rate, in terms of like what your body burns on a daily basis. Trust me, that is not a good thing. You want your metabolism to be like a furnace where you need to actually eat a little bit more in order to be able to keep up with energy-based demands. Now, this can go overboard, of course, with people that are in more of a catabolic state, but many people, much more people, many more, fall into the category of a slower metabolism. And that's an issue. So, I'm not saying that you can't fast 12, 14, or 16 hours. I'm not saying that. But if you have no hunger, like at all morning, it's not a good sign of a strong metabolism. It's just not. Your body, once it gets moving for the day and glucose levels begin to drop, there should be an automatic response from the body, meaning like you don't control it. An automatic response when glucose levels begin to dip that your body signals for hunger. Now you might say, well, I don't need to because my body just breaks down glycogen to be able to use. Sure, like that can happen, but it's typically precipitated by at least some hunger. And the reason is that it's much more natural for the body to get some food instead of having to break down liver glycogen, which actually just takes more energy. It's more of a process, and you need to produce more stress hormones in order to do it, right? And certainly for a lot of people on low carb diets, they might be glycogen depleted from their liver. So now what are they doing? Well, if they dip low in blood sugar, there's no way around it. You're still making, a lot of people don't know this, you're still making glucose somehow. So you might be breaking down muscle tissue, which is not ideal either. So I just want you to think about that. That's all, is that maybe, just maybe you don't necessarily want to lower your metabolism that much. We find in our practice, just to let you know, again, it's not for everybody, that most people do best fasting 3 to 4 hours before bed, and then they eat 1 or 2 hours after waking. And that still accounts for about 14 hours, 8 hours, plus another maybe 3 or 4 before bed. Okay, that's 11, 12, then another 1 or 2 hours. Well, you're at around 13, 14 hours. That's what seems to work best for most people in our practice. But again, I'll let you experiment with that yourself. All right, the last one is this. Believe it or not, another believe it or not, you may have a slow metabolism if you have brain fog, cloudy thinking, or some people kind of talk about as non-clair or fuzzy thinking. So it's the ability to not be able to recall thoughts as easily, to feel like you can sit down and accomplish a task, or to even have the ambition necessarily to do it. So that is another sign that there is an energy leak somewhere, that there's not enough energy in order to be able to fuel the body or the brain. This is really important because when we are talking about metabolism in general, we are essentially talking about thermogenesis and energy production in the body. So the higher a metabolism, the more calories you can take in, only because more energy is being consumed by the body. And that includes the brain as well. Carbs, fats, proteins, sure, those are your macros, but there's also your micros. Are you getting enough of the B vitamins? Are you getting enough of the minerals? Are you getting enough of the nutrients that actually help fuel your thyroid, to help fuel your overall immune system and your adrenals as well? These things are super important because they form the basis for our nervous system, which responds to stress. Remember, the more chronically stressed you are, over time, the lower your metabolism, okay? And why does that happen? Well, what happens is you do get inflamed. Your body's been producing stress hormones from the adrenals, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, for a number of weeks, months, or years. It begins to slow your thyroid. And again, I have all shows on exactly how this happens physiologically. If you're interested, we will link them up today at stephencabral.com/2329. And you can find all my previous podcasts at stephencabral.com/podcast. You can kind of scroll through and just click on the weight loss ones, the weight loss podcast, or scroll through the images at the top and click on the thyroid ones. And I show you the direct connection of how the adrenals shut down the thyroid. So really important. Again, I've taught courses on this. You can find my course on it at stephencabral.com/courses. So however you want to learn about it, we are really there for you. But what I want you to understand is that this whole slow metabolism thing affects eventually everything in your life. It can lead to cardiovascular disease through inflammation. It can lead to high blood pressure through multiple facets. It can lead to imbalanced blood sugar, which could lead to type 2 diabetes, overall inflammation, which could lead to then some autoimmune based issue, and many others. So the goal is not to be overly worried. When I bring these things up, it is not to be worried about what your future may hold. The truth is that these are early warning signs, and I do a bunch of shows that you want to know these early warning signs. I've talked about this many times, many different shows, because it allows you the opportunity to correct them naturally. Because your body is essentially showing you and telling you there is an imbalance. We are showing you that. You are not a vibrant human being with the energy, endurance, stamina, libido, clarity of thinking, the warm hands and feet, the strong digestion and metabolism. If you don't have those things, you're not optimal. You're not 100%. You could be better. And that's what I try to bring to people as well, is that we need to reach our fullest potential. And if that interests you, that is why I recommend things like a seasonal functional medicine detox, to be able to even just run some basic metabolism-based testing. There's a lab called the Stress, Mood, and Metabolism Test. You can run it with your favorite naturopathic doctor. You can run it with your favorite integrative health practitioner. You can run it with our team over at Equilife, whatever works for you. But that lab can be done right at home. It'll test your adrenals. It'll test your testosterone, your DHEA, your estrogen, your progesterone. It'll look at your thyroid hormones. So cortisol 4 times a day. Throughout the day, it will look at just over one day. And it'll look at T4, T3. It'll look at TSH. It'll look at TPO antibodies. It'll look at your vitamin D, which is responsible for your metabolism as well. It will look at your blood sugar levels as well. So these kinds of tests are invaluable. Again, you can find all of them at stephencabral.com/labs. You can run it with whoever you'd like. Just know they are available. But really what you want to do is don't worry about any one particular day. Some days you might be more tired than other days. What you want to look for is patterns. If you see a pattern of up and down energy throughout the day, of cold hands, cold feet, weak digestion, weak appetite, not being able to eat as many calories without gaining weight, sluggish bowels, and even just brain fog, poor thinking, do something about it now. That is what I wish I knew when I was 16 years old, 17 years old, before I overflowed my rain barrel, before I ended up going through years of going from doctor to doctor trying to figure these things out. So hopefully this was helpful today. Again, this was meant to be I like to share them with you, not to be negative, but there's so much that you can then do naturally for your health to be able to rebalance. You can literally search 2,329 podcasts for any topic you would like, completely free at stephencabral.com/podcasts. I give away my book for free now at stephencabral.com. So just let us know how we can help. Again, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for the reviews of the show, and I'll be back tomorrow with another Cabral concept.